The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Television, its sponsors, or partners.
Hello and welcome to In Conversation. I'm your host, Lucky Campbell, and today we are joined with James Smeaton from Highland Multimedia.
Yeah.
So listen, James, it's so great to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Lucky.
So listen, let's get right into it. Give us a little background about yourself.
Well, it's a bit of a story, but I guess we got time. I come from Gander, Newfoundland originally. I was born and raised there.
Right.
And it was actually a good friend of mine, Bernie, that came up to me and said, James, this university was here over lunch, and he looked perfect for you. And he said it was St. Francis Xavier University. And he said there's a program there, information systems, that combines business, which I know you kind of like, and technology together. And that you should check that out. So I went to the library and I took out the St. of X DVD or CD at that time and popped it in, and I got a really good idea of what this community was about and got excited about the university. So I applied, I got accepted, and then I came here and did my school. I got a bachelor's degree in information systems.
Okay.
I then went another year and got a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in marketing. And then I started Highland Multimedia, designing web pages in little old Antigonish right here.
So what is information systems?
Okay, well, it covers a whole diverse range of, I guess, roles and titles. Like you could be a computer administrator for a large organization, just make sure that all the computers are running for people. You could be a database analyst working for somebody like Revenue Canada to go and like work with statistics and things like that.
Right.
And you could also be, because of the skill set they arm you with, a business consultant that just has a focus on technology.
Right.
So that's sort of a short description of what information systems is.
Exciting field. So what is Highland Multimedia?
Okay, well, Highland Multimedia is a web design and print design firm. Now, what that means is we go and build people's web pages for them, work with them through all the stages of actually getting the web page put together. But then also, in building the web pages, we've also found that a lot of people need business cards. Occasionally, they need a logo designed. Sometimes they even come to us and say, we just want letterhead. We want you to take our logo, put our address with it, and just make it look snazzy and give us a letterhead. And so, we handle that whole range of offerings, including even video presentation design and flash-based design as well. So anything that really has a graphic on it that you've ever picked up, we can usually design something like that. If you ever visit a website, there's usually not too much that we're not capable of doing.
Fantastic. So when did it begin here, and how did it come about?
It began in 2003, and as a matter of fact, it started after I'd finished my 5th year and got my business degree. I was looking for work and actually had a great deal of trouble at that time because the dot-com bubble had burst. And people at companies such as Nortel with 8-10 years of experience were losing their jobs. So in looking for work, I had a difficult time. And then I went home to Newfoundland and kind of had some inspiration afterwards that maybe I can start my own company doing website design now. Given that we're in Antigonish, I thought to myself, well, James, this is a pretty tough area to maybe make a start at such a high-tech kind of direction. And as it turns out, Sean Wilkie at Student Computers had some additional space in his place, so I set up my office there initially. He helped me start my company in terms of just registration and all these other aspects. And then from there, I went into my home and worked it out of my home for a few years, and then eventually got an office on Main Street, which is where I am right now.
Fantastic. What all do you have to offer? You mentioned a few things.
Well, largely communication services. If you come into my office, I quickly ask you a few questions about your clients, the people that you need to talk to.
Right.
And then when I figure out what it is that you do that's so unique or special about your company, I try to go and design a promotion, if that's a web page, if that's an ad in a newspaper, even if that's a business card. I try to make the connection between what you do that makes you special as a business and what your clients are looking for. And in bridging that gap, I kind of really help people draw more people to them.
Right. So you work as an advisor as well then?
Yeah, consultant and advisor. Like, to be honest, I don't actually tend to get paid too often for that particular part of my job, but it just goes with the role.
Right. So I'm just thinking now, what are some of the costs that would be involved? Is there anything too small for you to tackle, or?
Well, no, for the most part, I've done jobs just recently as little as $25, which was just to go and do up a little email signature, so that when you receive an email from somebody, it has your company logo, and then perhaps, you know, your phone number, and maybe a nice little drop shadow or something like that. So we really take on jobs, teeny tiny ones, all the way up to big, huge, multi-page implementations.
Right.
So the biggest project that I've taken on recently would be for the McLeod nursing homes, of which case he has 6 nursing homes where we went and handled developing unique websites for each one of them, with some advanced functions such as being able to send the residents of those homes an e-card, so that, you know, brings some light into their lives, and then things like just even a calendar of events that the people who run the homes themselves can make the updates to, so that you know, if your parent was in one of these places, you could stop by the website and see, oh, okay, today is Crafts Day, or, you know, like they're going to be celebrating St. Patty's, and, you know, that'll just help bring a little bit extra to your whole, you know, the worries that you have about what's going on with your parents.
Fantastic. This sounds so exciting. I mean, it's such an exciting field to be in right now.
Lucky? I'm lucky. You know, I mean, the truth of it is like I perhaps came along at the perfect time.
Right.
I don't know if I came 2 years earlier or 2 years later, if this opportunity would have been as golden, so to speak. But yeah, it's been a dream come true, quite literally.
Fantastic. So talk a little bit about how your business has changed over the years.
Well, I'd mentioned a little bit before that when I'd started, I literally just had a desk and a computer and not much else. I never had a scanner or printer or really anything, just my and even then it was my home computer that I was using to go and do my work in the office. Of course, I moved back into my home, and then from there I had to basically just build up my client list, learn more. I actually took some part-time work and then full-time work with the local regional development authority.
Okay.
That taught me a lot about business organization and discipline, and then I was able to take that back to my company and grow it to the point where it's at right now.
Wow, this is really fantastic, I'll tell you. There's a lot more that I want to talk about, but we're running close to this first segment, so we're going to take a short break right now, but we'll be back with more In Conversation.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Television, its sponsors, or partners.
And we are back with more In Conversation, Eastlink Television. And James Smeaton from Highland Multimedia. Yeah, I like that name. It's quite a catchy name. So, James, you are the president of Highland Multimedia. Mm-hmm. What does that role entail?
Well, as per one of your previous questions, it's actually changed quite a bit over the years. Initially, I had to handle everything, including teaching myself how to actually be a business person. I'd mentioned before that Sean Wilkie from Stu Computers had helped me with the business registration process, finding a name and then selecting it. But as time has went on, my role has changed largely to be the lead creative designer. So when it comes to an actual a logo, or when it comes to a advertisement in a newspaper or a web page, I usually make the final call as to how it goes and looks. But more of my efforts lately have focused on calling up on my clients, trying to make sure that the materials that are needed to go and do the projects are coordinated. In some cases, I need to contact local businesses like the Casket, as well as Ross Screen Print, to go and find a logo, to get that to one of my designers so that he can go and do the job as soon as possible. But you know, for the most part, I've got to stay excited, passionate, and really just keep my eye on the strategic growth of the company. And then, like I say, every now and then, more often than not, I get into the projects, actually get my hands dirty, and try to make sure that my experience is reflected in the final product.
Right on. So I guess the title of executive producer would be
maybe.
fitting.
I think in a lot of these particular kind of industries that I'm in, they would call somebody similar to me the creative director. So you kind of like are responsible for the vision and then motivating and managing all the people to make sure that that's actually executed.
Right on. Okay, walk us through a typical week at Highland Multimedia.
Geez, a typical week at Highland Multimedia will usually involve the better part of 30 phone messages, probably about 150 emails from different people, and a whole lot of design work. Like I work with Photoshop, Macromedia, Flash, and a lot of conversation, believe it or not. A good part of making wonderful web pages and good advertisements is communicating with your clients and really trying to go and understand what is it that they want to inform the public about, and now how does the public interpret that information. So really a lot of conversation, design work, a lot of follow-up with phone calls, and then paying bills. It's always a bit of time consuming there.
Right on. Listen, I want to talk about some specific projects that you worked on, but the first thing that came to mind is when someone comes into you and says, I want to have a web page, what do you tell them?
Okay, well, I usually say, wonderful, you found the right guy. Then I follow up by saying, well, what kind of web page? It's kind of like going to somebody and saying, I would like a house.
Yes.
And then if you don't follow up with too much specifics, the house you come back to is oftentimes different from the vision. Right. So that's where my ability to sit down and conduct a proper interview with my client to learn more about what type of web page is it that you want. Are you a new company that's not sure about the internet? And if that is the case, well then perhaps you're looking for what we call in the industry a splash page, which is usually a single or two-page website that just goes and allows people to find you on the internet. So if, for example, we're talking about maybe student computers, then you will be able to type student computers into a Google search engine, and then you will be able to go and bring up just that splash page that says, hey, we're student computers, you can find us in Antigonish.
Right.
And we just have this, offering. We do, computer maintenance, and we also go and sell computer stuff. So that's kind of like, the smaller scale.
Right. Now, the sites themselves, is there any specific sites that you'd recommend? Price-wise, is there a range of prices that you'd go to establish your own site?
Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, like I said, the starter page, usually you can get in. You're going to find different prices depending on the people that you actually have working on your page. For example, you might have a cousin or a nephew that's just started to go and do web page design technology, and they might say, hey, for $200 I'll build your web page for you, but you're going to be maybe missing some of the other tangibles that you get when working with a more experienced designer,
right,
such as the interview process that I mentioned there earlier, to really get at the heart of what it is that you want to communicate to your people. So a lot of times people really trust me to come up with the website vision, like how their clients are going to be best served by a web page, and they look at me to use my experience to kind of help guide that process.
Right.
Now, usually when I have something in place, everybody is well equipped to go and quickly say, well, that's not right, or perhaps we could try red right there as opposed to blue, and also I have a few different pictures that maybe we could go and replace right there. And I expect that. That's totally part of my job, and then I try to go and integrate those changes into what I kind of suggested as maybe a good appeal. But to come back to your question a little bit more, web pages can go and range upwards even in the $4,000 range if you're looking at more advanced features like having maybe an e-commerce shopping cart in there, so that you can, and then content management systems are sort of not really a newer aspect of website design, but certainly becoming more prevalent. A lot more companies are saying, hey, we'd like to have control over updating the content of our page. So if it's the About Us, if it's about our product selection, we'd like to go in the background and be able to make those changes ourselves anytime we want, rather than maybe emailing you to make those changes. In which case, I have to build a system that's a little bit more elaborate, usually makes use of database technology, and consequently increases the price. So I come back to my, what type of house do you want?
Right, right on. Really exciting stuff. So let's talk about some of the specific projects that you've worked on.
Okay, recently I've been working with AA Monroe to reformat their internal documentation such that it's going to take on a more professional appeal. They had most of the work already done, but they needed somebody to come in and put a brand consistency to both, like I say, their internal documents for training, as well as just organizing the office and stuff like that. But then also to go and translate that information over into some advertising design. And so we've recently also worked with them on their advertising campaign. Right. Another local youth group that we have is the Xavier Price Card. This is a great little discount card that the students at St. FX have come up with. And they approached me and said, we really want to go and let the public know that we're serious about this price card, that it's a very good offer, and we want you to go and do our webpage. So I worked with them to go and translate the design that was in their card that they already had printed into a website feel. And in doing so, kind of establish some colors and fonts and things that hopefully will carry through also into maybe a poster, which is the next project that I'm working on for them.
Exciting, really good stuff. Okay, we're running short on time right now, so we're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with more in conversation.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Television, its sponsors, or partners.
And we are back with more in conversation, and James Smeaton from Highland Multimedia. So James, we were talking a bit about some of your clients. You also do a little bit of video production. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, video production has been relatively new kind of segment of my business. Just this fall, I worked with a young lady to go and edit together a video that she had of her horse training so that she could go and send that off as an application to get into a very prestigious horse college down in the United States. So she had selected some music that she'd like to have in the background, and then the individual kind of segments that she wanted out of all of her routines, because in some of them there she might have missed a jump or something like that. No need to put that in there. So I worked with her to go and edit together a short video, which I then went and posted on my website for her, so that she could just simply send a quick link off to the board who selects whether or not you get in, and they could just go and see her video, music and all, and then make an informed decision, as to whether or not she would be let in. And she was subsequently.
Fantastic. So I understand you've also created rentandyganesh.ca. Talk a little bit about this and how that came about.
Okay, rentandyganesh.ca came from it was kind of a selfish need. I was looking at moving out of the place that I was in at the time, and I never found a really good method for finding another place to live. There was the newspaper, of course. I had to go and look through that, and it's usually just a couple details and a phone number. And my knowledge of web design and stuff like that made me think to myself, there has to be a web page where people who have available apartments or houses or even rooms to be rented, there should be a place where you can go and see all that kind of information at once. So I did a search and I found out that rentantigonish.ca was available. I booked that, and then I actually was quite lucky to go and run into a very talented database developer, Bill McDonald, who worked with me extensively to go and build all the background stuff, the things that allow you to search on the web page and go and bookmark the properties that you liked, and the things that allow my, I guess, my customers, but it's really, it's free to go and use the website for people that want to post a property or people that want to go and search for a property. It costs them nothing, so I guess we'll call them customers all the same. Bill McDonald went and handled some of the things that allows them to go and upload pictures and stuff like that. So really, what the website seeks to do is go and basically, and this is the slogan, is the best place to find or rent a home in Antigonish. So if you have a basement apartment and you would like to go and get somebody down there, rather than posting flyers all over town, rather than maybe just taking out one ad in the casket for like, $30 or whatever it is for a week, you could go to my website and for free sign up to the website, then add your property to it, and instantaneously people can go and find that find that listing, and particularly search for things like whether or not there's a lease, whether or not it has pets, how many bathrooms you're looking for, the distance from campus, and we've even integrated into it a Google map that will show you on the map all the various properties that we currently have available around town, so that if you wanted to just see, like, I want to live close to campus, you could actually see the properties that were available close to campus, click on them, and then read the listing. And for the people like landlords that are trying to go and rent a place, we go and provide all the space in the world to provide all the details that a lot of people really want to know before they move into a place.
Exactly.
Not to mention the fact that you get to put some pictures there, which really goes a long way into sort of massaging some people's worries as to, is this a good place for me to live? So I've been basically spending, right now it's at 1,900 visits per month. So it's 1,900 people in this area alone that visited the website this past month just to go and see if they can maybe find a home there. And the time that they're on the website is 8 minutes and about 40 seconds. I have a statistics thing that tells me that, but for a web page, that's actually pretty exceptional. For somebody to stay onto a web page for 8 minutes and 60 seconds is pretty amazing. And so for my advertisers, which is the one area of the website where I go and make some income, it's $30 for 30 days, and at $1 a day to get access to, I believe it's almost 200 people or so when I did the calculation, is a pretty phenomenal deal. So it's kind of a business where I thought everybody is going to win and it's never going to go away. Everybody's always going to need a place to live. People are always going to want to post places that are available, and this is just a natural phenomena that takes advantage of technology that I've been learning for years.
Right on, especially this being a university town.
Well, yeah, there's the extra emphasis right there. And the other thing is I want to be able to find a place for me to go and move into without necessarily having to go and pick the casket up every week or go around and look on bulletin boards to see if a place was available. I could do this all from the convenience of my home. I could also, I myself have dogs, I could go and select pets are allowed, and I could immediately eliminate so many properties, that I'd otherwise have to spend my time on.
So what kind of responses have you gotten from this?
Well, as I said, 1,700 unique visits a month is pretty much a big response. It started off, with 0. Even as far back as this past September, it was only at 300 visits a month. So the response has been gaining. It's been getting ever bigger, and for the most part, I get comments from people I don't even know that tell me that they went and found a home on rentantigonish.ca, and to a certain extent, that tells me that something must be working. So the next step is more or less to go and let the potential advertisers of the world know that this opportunity exists, and if they're interested, contact me, and then hopefully start promoting their business next to all these rental listings. And also it provides an immediate way to get access to your customers, because all the people on the website are interested in Antigonish, which means if you're a business in Antigonish and you're trying to reach people, then you're going to reach people that care about Antigonish. And then second to that, if you've invested in a web page with a guy like me, then you're also only a single click away from bringing that person into your web page. So Student Computers is one of my current advertisers right now. Max Taxi is one of my current advertisers. So, and as well, of course, I've got Highland Multimedia on there as well.
Fantastic. What about the staff that you have at Highland Multimedia?
Well, as I stated before, Bill McDonald's database developer. Matt McIntyre is kind of my lead designer. And then Travis Myatt worked with me as well early in my company and still works with me to go and do some logo work and stuff. And he handles, kind of more vector graphics, which is to go and say things that make it to billboards and signs and usually logos. So outside of that, I have a number of people around the world that I call upon that have specific talents that come together to go and help me on certain projects. But for the most part, my core team consists of me, Matt McIntyre, and Bill McDonald.
Right on. So you're really tapping into the global market, though, for the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, I'm really lucky. I've got great people that want to go and work with me, and I'm just more than happy to go and have them.
That brings me another question that I was thinking about earlier. Your clients, do they have to physically come to see you in Antigonish, or can you deal over the internet?
Yeah, I can deal with people all over the world. I've dealt with people in British Columbia, Ontario, North Carolina, Germany, and everywhere in between almost. Usually, though, I do have to say, people want to put a face with a name. They want to feel comfortable, with who they're working with. So a large majority of my business does tend to be local. But for people that I've already met who are elsewhere, they seem to have no troubles working with me via email, over distance, and just using the phone.
Right on. Okay, we're almost out of time. We've got less than a minute left. What do you think is important to have Highland Multimedia in Antigonish?
Well, I think it's just important to go and have somebody that's really focused on communicating your organization as best as possible. So I don't want to also focus too much on business. I've also done work with nonprofits such as the Women's Resource Center. So they approached me and said, we're looking at redesigning our website and we want to really make a big impact so that when people come to our website looking for help, they don't get turned away and they can quickly find the information that they want. So really, and a company like mine is indispensable just for the fact that you have somebody who's dedicated to making sure that the web page, the advertisement, the logo is as good as it can possibly be, and that's just going to bring more people overall to Antigonish, and I think just generally make this already great town even better.
Fantastic. Well, this has been a fantastic interview. I should have overworked that word myself today. But it's been really great, James. I've really got a great insight on what the Highland Multimedia is all about and all the services that you have to offer. It sounds fantastic. I really want to learn more about it. And certainly, where can we find you again?
I'm located right now on Main Street, above Tim Hortons in the Kirk building on the second floor there. So, I'm there all the time. Just pop on by, second floor. Any work that I do, quotes are free, so there's no commitment, to actually purchase anything, just to find out, hey, can I be helpful?
Well, thank you so much. And thank you out there for joining us, and we'll see you next time on In Conversation.